Hey, what's going on, guys? Gals, Troy here, Quad Standard Labs. In front of us, we've got the Tilt Angle Drones x8s, which is a build inspired by Sicario. It's got all the great features that Sicario really has proven to be awesome. Arcing arms to get the COG in there, nice wide front arms, a little bit of a dead cat in the rear to give you that no lens, no prop, or no prop in the lens, recording. We also have on here a DAC mount by James Neer that we run on pretty much everything. It's an amazingly beautiful hand formed carbon frame from Mark Webber out of the UK. Like I said, tilt angle drones. Ex composites engineer for Formula One. Just amazing guy, and he just builds a beautiful hand built frame. Again, the Sicario inspiration is given. It's a proven platform, and when Mark went about kind of getting his platform built, he really was drawn to the inspiration that Andy and Gab had with his Sicario. It's not a knockoff, and in fact, this is really kind of an upper tier, aesthetically beautiful. This has some definite positives above Sicario in terms of build and maintenance and just a couple of things about it that are really awesome. It's also got a couple of nuances about it that are particularly nuanced to just this and may not be what somebody wants. So we will be offering these going forward. This one is our first build. We've had it for a while. We just got it kind of finalized and tested and tuned, and we're loving just everything about it. Performance, it's basically a Sicario underneath. It's just a more expensive frame, and the performance of that frame, again, arguable. I would say hands, side by side, be hard pressed to tell the difference in flight. But sure, there are tons of things that are different about them. Sicario is awesome, love it. It's a pain in the butt to build. To get it open, you have to open it up, and the arms all fall off. Everything falls apart. You have to put it all back together, make sure none of the wires get pinched or anything. There's just a lot with Sicario that make it difficult to build and to work on. With this, not so much. And so this is our quick introduction that we're going to give for if you're purchasing one and receiving it, as well as just interested in it. So just taking a quick overview, it's an X8. This one's set up to be running 8-inch or 7-inch with the motor selections. It's got a DAC universal mount from James Neer that we sell and we offer now on all of our products. It's got that incorporated into a big, huge 6-point dampening plate that's attached to the main top plate. It is attached to the main top plate with the front 2 screws and the rear 2 screws. The middle 2 screws need to be removed first if you are going to get into it and start binding to it, which brings me to a big difference of Sicario. Taking the top plate off of this, though, takes 15 screws, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Dampener is 7 and 8, and then through the dampener plate, you'll see 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, and 15. They're holes that are in the top of the plate that you will see screw heads in. Those screw heads, just like the rear 6 screws, are going to be 2.5 millimeter drivers. These up here are M3s, so they're just going to be regular 2 millimeter hex drivers. So if you're going to open it up, again, there's going to be those 15 screws. You're going to start by taking the 2 dampener screws off, so loosening them just to where they're all the way out. You don't have to physically pull them out. And then once you do that, you're going to start at one of the corners, and you're going to do this one, and then you'll do the opposite. And then you'll come up here, and you'll do the opposite, working your way towards the center. It's the best way that I've found to loosen it up and put it back together. So when you put it back together, you're going to actually do these 2 screws last because you don't want to put all the pressure on the dampening plate. And you're going to, again, just get all the screws set in place, and you would just start here, 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 and just work your way towards center, kind of crossing like you would a rotation on maybe changing a tire. That is not fun, but I will say that all of those screws make for a very, very rigid top plate to what's already a very rigid frame that, as you see, does not need braces between the arms. And that's just because of how solid of the construction is. And just how stiff the entire frame is. So once you get those screws off, the great thing about this frame is it's an entirely tubbed chassis. So this is all pretty much hollow. It's, you know, not anything inside. And so you have all of this space to put the wiring and all the different things you want, like the 12-volt BEC right here on the XT30. This is where you're going to power your HD camera off of. Getting your, you know, your receiver in there and getting the BEC and the air unit and all those wires. There's not this, you know, tight confined space where you're worried about pushing everything together and getting them all pinched. The tub chassis of this is a huge positive. Really, really makes it easy to build. And again, having a full frame assembled and being able to get everything built around that without having to juggle anything or put zip ties on the arms, it just really makes for a beautiful, you know, build and a really much easier build. That being said, you will have to open it up. So when you get it, you're going to have to open it up to bind to the air unit and also to your receiver. So go ahead, and the first thing you're going to want to do when you get it is do that. While you have it open, you're going to take the plate out. Try to set the plate on like a box or just something that keeps all the screws from being pushed back through, because there are these captive screws under the plate, the camera plate, that if you get them a little wonky in there, they can become difficult or almost impossible to get back in the holes. And if you do that, then you're going to have to take the dampener plate off, put those screws back in the holes, and then carefully put the dampener back on. So it's just be careful. Try not to set it flat on the table. Set it on top of something in the center so it holds those screws still in their holes. So when you go to lift it and put it back on, it's really simple. So once you're inside and you've bound, you know, power it on, bind to it, props off, by the way. Check Betaflight, make sure everything's set up the way you want. Props off again. I would even arm the drone. Obviously, you can't arm it while it's connected to Betaflight unless you go click the motor arm button on the motors tab. But I just prefer to disconnect the USB, props off, plug it in, arm it. I would do all of that with it open. That way, if there's any issues, you don't have to put 15 screws back on and off. And so once everything's tightened up there, you can go ahead and button it up. Now, your USB to connect to Betaflight is going to be here on the side, coming out the side here. And you just want to make sure that you obviously get that tucked back in if you ever pull it out. There is quite a bit of length to pull it out, so you can be versatile with it, and then you'll push it back in. There is a screw that goes back in right here, so just it kind of gets tugged on, or if you accidentally push it too far in, you're going to have to actually get in, open up the top to get it back through that hole. Again, just one of the small nuances. But again, there's some awesome, you know, molded cut holes around this entire thing that allow for just such a clean build. It's top notch. Love what Mark did. He really thought this thing out really well. So yeah, once you get it bound and everything and hooked up, go give it a rip. This thing again is rated just like a Sicario. You can find it now on our website. We've got product listings up. You can go check it out. You can buy one. The hand-built frames, though, do take 30 days to get to us and could be even a little longer. So there is a 60-day pretty hard lead time on receiving your drone after you purchase it. The build itself, again, it's rated just like a Sicario is. So 7 and 8 inch, we build 2808s. We can do 1350s on those. And you can run 7 or 8 inch props. You can run about 1,600, maybe 1,800 grams of camera payload with like a 4,400 or even a 5,000, depending on how heavy you get that camera. You may have to dump the battery to 4,000 or 4,400. On a 2812 build, the 1,100 kV, it's an 8 inch only, really is what we recommend. It'll carry 2 kilograms, if not 2.2 roughly, is what we kind of say people max out at. Again, on that, you're going to want to run a 5,000 milliamp for the most part. And so, you know, that's pretty awesome to still be able to carry those payloads on something like this. The weight of the frame and everything together, it's a toss-up on what's heavier. They're about 100-gram difference, I feel like, and it really just depends on what we put on each frame. Some of these things we put more stuff on, some we put less. So apples to apples, I actually think that they're pretty much going to weigh the same. So there's really no performance gain in the weight, I don't believe, between a Sicario. At the end of the day, it's a beautiful frame. It gives a level of just professionalism, I think, to a platform like this that nothing else on the market touches. you definitely would be the eyes on set whenever people saw it. They wouldn't have seen very many because not many even exist. Um, yeah, give it a rip, man. We can build it also with custom, by the way, with custom motors like this one. This one is actually running 28, 12, 1300 kV. This is running an 8-inch prop, but could also run a 7-inch prop if necessary. Gives it a little bit of that extra oomph and punch and such on the acceleration while keeping that torque of the 2812. So something really awesome we did with just this build, and I'm thinking of kind of maybe making it the standard on this build. But for now, it's available in typical Sicario build fashion. If you want something custom, give us a call, email us, text us. Fly safe, fly smart. Just fly. Peace.